All right, instant reaction to OU's dominant win on the road at East Texas A&M. I've got some thoughts. I'll do maybe a more in-depth video coming up on Wednesday. But what are your thoughts? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What was your big reaction from a night that I thought overall was very impressive for OU softball? Please like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Okay, so road game for the first time this year. This edition of OU softball went on the road for the first time. Now, it's a fall scrimmage. It doesn't count towards your regular season record. But I think overall, when you factor in that this is this team's first time to go on the road and essentially play another team outside of that USA softball U18 team a couple of weeks ago, my big thing is, do they come out looking like they're ready to go? Do they come out sluggish? Because let's be honest, I think that the goal that this team has probably set for themselves is that they want to win the SEC again, but they want to win the national championship. And I really like that so far this fall, and certainly in a game tonight, this doesn't look like a team that's just kind of going through the motions during the fall and just waiting to get to the season and waiting for their chance to win a national championship. Like, it looks like they really enjoy and understand the process. And I thought that they showed up tonight really ready to play. No, they didn't score a run offensively in the first inning, but then after that, you really saw them pile across the runs as the innings went on. So, big picture takeaway from me in a game like this, OU did what they needed to do. They scored a lot of runs. They shut down East Texas A&M. Their first base runner came in the 7th inning with 2 outs. You shut them down. You played pretty clean defense, no big mistakes. I mean, OU looked the parts. And here we are once again talking about a game, an exhibition game in the fall where the stands are totally packed. You know, people sitting in the outfield walls, all that. People show up to see a show. People show up because they think, wow, I think I'm probably seeing the best college softball team in America. And OU showed up tonight, and they looked the part, and they put on a show. So I will give the team its due there, that they showed up ready to go, and I thought there were multiple players that really looked the part tonight. Another thing that is very interesting to me, it's nothing that necessarily matters in terms of the 2026 season, but for the first time with this team, outside of the game against the USA U18 softball team, but Patty Gasso had to make a lineup. Now, in no way do I look at this first lineup and say, well, this is how it's going to be for the first game in 2026. No, I'm sure, and they played a very similar game last year against East Texas A&M in the fall. I'm sure that starting lineup card looked a lot different from game one and certainly to the end of the year. But it's what we got to talk about right now, and here's how it looked. Ella Parker led off and was the designated player. Gabby Garcia hit second and played short. Cassidy Pickering hit third and played first base. Nelly hit cleanup and played third. Barker hitting fifth and playing left. Agbayani hitting sixth and playing second. Kai Minor hitting seventh and playing center field. Isabela Emerling hitting eighth and catching. And then Cheney Helton getting the start in right field. So a couple of takeaways. I think that we already knew this, but the offseason conversation is real. Cassidy Pickering is going to get a real chance at first base. We know she's going to play somewhere. She's going to be in the lineup. She's going to be somewhere out there, and they're going to give her every opportunity, I think, to win and play that first base position. But that doesn't mean that Barker is out of the picture. You know, she's hitting fifth and still playing in the outfield. One thing that you really, really like about Sydney Barker is how versatile she is. She can play multiple infield spots. She can play outfield spots. So even if Cassidy Pickering does play first base this year, that doesn't necessarily mean that Sydney Barker is out of the lineup. In fact, she just might win one of those outfield spots that are vacant. Kai Minor playing center field. That's where I think that she's going to be your starting center fielder this year. And here she is in her first, road trip with OU softball starting in center. And then Isabela Emerling getting the start at catcher. Not too shocking. I think that Kendall Wells is really going to have to take that from Isabela Emerling, earn that. But Emerling gets the start. And then Cheney Helton starting in right field, which is cool to see. She's had a very good fall up to this point. Man, pitching looked good tonight from OU, didn't it? And I mentioned earlier that the first base runner that OU allowed was with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. But Audrey Lowry in the circle looked very good. 4 solid innings, and granted, the opponent is not great. We know that. But let's remember what we were talking about just a couple of days ago. The pitching staff for OU was good in game 1 of the Battle Series, outside of Audrey Lowry, who didn't have her best outing, didn't have her best stuff. Well, she came back tonight and got the start, and she looked really strong. And I get it. It's not the same level of competition as you're going to see in the SEC, but Audrey Lowry's got all the stuff. It's mentally, can she put herself in a situation to have a great 2026? And I think her ability to really bounce back in that spot tonight makes me feel even better about what she's going to do next year, because she came in and I thought she located, her stuff looked good, and she got out of that 4 innings without giving up a base runner whatsoever. You expect Audrey Lowry to look dominant in the situation that she was put in, and that's exactly what she did. She came in and she was absolutely dominant, as was Miley Wachenio. Guys, I really liked her when OU got her out of the portal from Ole Miss. I thought that she was definitely one of OU's top 4 pitchers and could even push for a top 2 spot. The more I watch Miley Wachenio, the more I really think OU got a good player in the circle. And I don't know if my mind's necessarily changed or if it's going to moving forward about where she fits in the rotation. I don't really know that today. I don't need to know that today. What I know is that Miley Wachenio has really good stuff, and she's come out this fall and looked absolutely excellent. So I was already pretty high on this OU pitching staff coming into the fall. Now, they certainly got to prove it against a lot better competition that they'll see in 2026, but everything, the small sample size that I've seen, this staff is going to be deep. Like, I really believe that. They're going to need that big-time ace. Maybe Sydney Berzon is that. Maybe Wachenio's that. Like, we'll see who that pitcher is, and they need to develop that. But I'm really liking the overall depth. What I've seen from Audrey Lowry, what I know and what I think OU has in her, from Berzon, from Wachenio, who I just talked about, heck, from Berkeley Zakay, who I didn't even know if she was going to be healthy enough to pitch this fall and to perform as well as she had. Like, that's another one that you add to this rotation. Hopefully Kirsten Deal has her best year as well. It's very early on in the fall, and I'm probably getting a little bit too excited from what I've seen up to this point, but I just really like what I've seen from the pitchers thus far. And I'm just very excited about what their potential is, certainly during this fall to what they can show, but certainly as the season rolls on as well. Not the first time that OU's played East Texas A&M recently. Played them actually during last season. 9-0 win. Just a bit of a reference point. 9-0 win over East Texas A&M in 5 innings, 5-inning run rule during the season, and actually played them last fall on the road in Commerce as well. Beat them 19-0. And at the time of that game, they weren't East Texas A&M, they were Texas A&M Commerce. So once again tonight, like I said, I thought that they really came out and took care of business. No runs in the first inning, but kind of consistent the rest of the night. Maybe you want to see them close out a little bit better offensively in the final innings. But Sydney Barker had a solo home run to open things up in the second. That was good. Ella Parker had a bloop single to score. Gabby Garcia had a triple, if you want to score that as a triple, in the second inning to open it up 4-0. Isabela Emerling hits a grand slam. Great for her. She gets her money's worth when she swings it. And when she swings it and she squares up a softball, you're going to go a long way. And that one certainly went a long way. So good to see Emerling get that grand slam. And this is an important fall for her. You know, in terms of players that this fall is most important for, I put her right at the top of that list because she's got a talented true freshman right behind her. So any great at-bat that Isabela Emerling can have is really going to help her case. And that was a very impressive grand slam. But good to see this team after 3 innings, really after 2 innings, but certainly after 3 innings, we're all saying to ourselves that this game is over. They came out ready to play, and I thought they dominated. Not a whole lot of stats throughout this broadcast, so it's hard to say where everyone played. I did see Alyssa Parker playing first base, so remember that video I did about a month ago talking about the fall roster? She was listed as a pitcher only. I said, I'm not going to take that as that she won't hit at OU as soon as this year. Well, she was playing first base. She got some at-bats. So Alyssa Parker is going to have the opportunity to hit is what it seems like to me. Still think her biggest impact will be felt in the circle. I saw Sid Barker playing some shortstop tonight. Again, that just speaks to how versatile she is. I like Cassidy Pickering with the bases clearing, 2 RBI double in the 6th. Had maybe not her best plate appearances early in the game, but we know Pitt can hit. And I think Pitt's got a great chance to be an All-American this year. But overall, good night. I'll certainly take it. There's some things that this team needs to get better at, like every other team in the country. And I'm sure Patty Gasso was saying the exact same thing. But I love the competition that's out there right now. Some spots are up for grabs, but this pitching staff is really, really impressive. And I want to see them continue to grow throughout the fall because I think that there is certainly a lot to like there. Again, what do you guys think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. We'll have a more in-depth video probably coming out tomorrow. But as always, guys, thank you for watching.